All right, so I guess this is a season wrap up for the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the channel. I am a Packers fan. Have been forever. Live in Milwaukee, so of course you root for the Packers. And well, last night season comes to an end off of another, for some people, painful loss. I don't know. I sort of felt it was coming. Honestly, watching that game, I think even, uh, you know, it just nothing. It just didn't feel right in that game, and it sort of felt like what we've watched with this team now. I would say most of the second half of this season, it sort of just all came back to bite them. The bad special teams, the inability to run the football, the inability for this offense to really find that second receiving threat, and it just sort of all came back to bite them. This defense, it played well in that game, but even at the end, they once again sort of go back to forgetting how to tackle people. So, it's definitely disappointing for this team to lose like that. I think, you know, you get the special team sort of set, and there's a good chance the Packers probably win this game, and they're probably like, "Oh boy, if they won this game, it probably would have been what? They probably would have won it 10-3. Probably been like, well, geez, that was really tighter than we wanted it to be, and gonna have things to work on for the championship round." But special teams was such a disaster that they caused a 10-point swing. Um, you know, Special teams a lot of times is not more often than not it's not going to be the reason why you win a game, but it sure as hell can be the reason why you lose a game. And the special teams for the Packers have been a disaster, really going back to Mike McCarthy. Special teams just there was always blunders on special teams. You remember the NFC Championship game in 2014, that disaster. So once again, just special teams again costing the Packers, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Packers, cheaped out. Matt LaFleur wanted to hire a certain special teams coordinator. The Packers decided not to, decided to lowball the guy. He went to New Orleans, and the Packers decided to cheap out. And, just very typical of the Packers as an organization. Like to cheap out on the football, and then they go and spend tens of millions of dollars buying up homes in the Green Bay area to build office buildings and high-end apartments. That's been one of my frustrations as a Packer fan over the past like 5 to 6 years. You sort of, this isn't too known, I don't think, to people outside of Wisconsin, but the Packers have been sort of building almost like Packer Disneyland up there around Lambeau, buying up homes, buying up houses, buying up businesses, and razzing the land, and then putting up this little Titletown district. All while the team sort of crumbled, and it's just one of those things where it seems like as an organization, their eye hasn't been on winning, and that's not why they lost this game. But I think just everything with this team sort of compounds on each other. When these failures happen, it doesn't feel like the one goal of the franchise has been to win another Super Bowl. It doesn't feel like that. It felt like that last season, I think, in 2020, the 2020-2021 season, where they should have beat Tampa. Um, that felt like a team that was, it really felt like it was firing on all cylinders. This didn't feel like that. This team never felt that good. You go back to the second half of the season, that game they had against Baltimore, where just the defense and the offense wasn't all that good, and the run game, I think, is something that I think sort of surprised me. Is everything that's been invested into this Packers team with the run game over the past however many years, and they couldn't run the football. They literally couldn't run the football to save their lives. It's one of those things that I think is so interesting, is that you've invested all of this time and money in this running attack, and you couldn't capitalize. You couldn't really run the football effectively. One of the things I saw in the first half of that game, they just ran into a brick wall outside of the first drive. Running into a brick wall, offensive line couldn't get a push. This was also a new offensive line grouping that played with Billy Turner at left tackle, Dennis Kelly at right tackle. They haven't played those positions all year. Why are you, this goes to Matt LaFleur. Why are you making those changes in a playoff game? And then when you see those changes, that grouping just really isn't working, why not pivot, put Yosh Najman, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, put Yosh back at left tackle, Billy Turner at right tackle, maybe play Dennis Kelly somewhere along the guard spot, and maybe get the offensive line to get a little bit of push, so you can run the football, so they can stop, sending heat at the quarterback. Instead, Matt LaFleur just sort of just stuck with his guns and just sort of rode out these guys, and you end up losing. It's disappointing. I think that's the real thing. It's just disappointing. And I think the thing that you have to probably recognize if you're if you're a Packer fan is this is probably it. This was probably it for at least the next couple years. If Jordan Love is what the Packers thought he was when they drafted him, you could be right back contending for Super Bowls, by 2023 for sure. You'll be right back contending if he's what they thought he was when they drafted him. Now, whatever the hell they think of him right now, I don't really know. A lot of things sort of make me think that I don't think that they're fully bought in on him, but at this point, you can't really put the milk back in the bottle. I don't know if that's a saying, an expression or not, but I came up with it. Maybe it is. You can't get the tooth back. You can't get the tooth. You can't get the toothpaste back in the bottle. Now is sort of what I'm saying. You drafted him. You have to hope this works, because if it doesn't, everyone in that front office is gone. Matt LaFleur probably gone. Matt LaFleur, it's real interesting here. All these nice things he's done really hasn't showed up in the playoffs, if we're being honest. And, it's going to be real interesting to sort of see what his future is, right? Because, not only if Aaron Rodgers is gone, there's a whole list of players that are going to be gone, that are not going to be back with this team next season. And it's a massive list of really good players that have been, key players. But, these are guys who may have taken their last snap of this team. Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, Randall Cobb, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Robert Tonyan, Mercedes Lewis, Billy Turner, Dennis Kelly, Lucas Patrick, Dean Lowry, Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, Rasul Douglas, Kevin King, Devondre Campbell, Adrian Amos, and Mason Crosby. That's a massive list of players who are key contributors, especially Adrian Amos. Rasul Douglas had a very good season this year. Robert Tonyan has been very good as the starting tight end. This team's offense sort of never looked the same once Tonyan went down. As much as, maybe I'll malign Marquez Valdes-Scantling, he presents a deep threat that this team needs to help open up the rest of the offense. You sort of saw that in yesterday's game, where the offense was sort of congested, where it was sort of, look, it's going to be to the balls, or they're going to go to Davante and they're going to go to Aaron Jones. Those are the guys who get open consistently in the passing game. Allen Lazard is a guy, and that's all I can really say about Allen Lazard. Just the amount of players that aren't going to be here is um is sort of insane. And even if those guys all don't come back, this team's still in a lot of cap issues. You have the issue with David Bakhtiari where, I don't know what happened. I don't know if this is fair to say or not. It seems like something went wrong with that knee surgery when he tore his ACL. He had to go back in, have some microscopic work done on it, and believe in November. It just hasn't healed right, it feels like. Still swelling in that knee after he played a little bit in week 18, which now you have to wonder, well, honestly, was it worth it him playing week 18 against the Detroit Lions? Like, did that really make sense? I don't know, but it's just a lot of what ifs with this Packers team as usual. What if they didn't allow that blocked field goal at the end of the first half? What if you don't have the blocked punt? What if Aaron Jones just keeps running instead of stopping, trying to juke back, even though I don't know what he was doing on that play. There's a lot of what ifs. What if Josiah DeGuara doesn't have that drop, I believe, on 2nd and 8? What if Rodgers sees Alan Lazard sort of finally cutting open on that 3rd down late in the 4th quarter? What ifs, what ifs, what ifs, what ifs. That's sort of been the story of the Green Bay Packers since Super Bowl 45. What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? To win a Super Bowl, the other teams have to have a lot of what ifs. You have to to win a Super Bowl. I feel like you have to have a lot of what's a good thing that broke our way. You have to have a lot of things break your way, and the Packers just haven't had a lot of things break their way when it comes in the playoffs. It's always broken the other team's way. A lot of that is just sort of luck, the sort of randomness of football, which I think makes football such a great sport. It's sort of just that frenzied randomness of it at times. But also a lot of it, I think, is just poor execution. I think a lot of it comes from the organization sort of having this, our way or the highway sort of view of doing things. I think that leads to a lot of things not working out too well. And yeah, just another disappointing season for the Green Bay Packers ends. And it's interesting, right? Because you have this great quarterback, and that covers up a lot of holes. But when that great quarterback doesn't play well, what can the team do for that great quarterback? And I think for the Packers, you've seen consistently for years what they can do is kind of fold and not really be effective and not really, I think, rally around the team and sort of get the job done. I think that's something you've seen consistently now with this Packers squad for a decade plus now, and it's disappointing. I keep saying it's disappointing. I think that's the main thing. It's just disappointing. And it's weird because I sort of, like I said earlier in the video, I expected the loss. The way the game was going, it's like, yeah, San Francisco, if they just put a couple drives together, they could probably win this game. And they didn't even have to put any drives together. They just needed one last good drive, sort of get it to a position where Robbie Gould can kick a field goal and win the game. And so they didn't even have a good drive necessarily. They just needed a blocked punt and that blocked field goal at the end of the first half. And that's sort of what won them the game. So I want to thank you guys for listening to me ramble about the Packers around 14 minutes. Expect more real football content from me, maybe about the Packers in general. Who knows, throughout the year. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching this one. Be sure to hit like, be sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.